pistachios.
Oh, I appreciate it, but I'm fine.
Have you filled that cereal? Some cereal? I'm addicted to this cereal. It has, it's delicious and it has 11 grams of protein and it only has 50 carbs. I say this like I count these things, I really don't. But it has 6 grams of fiber. It's probably not great. There's probably something bad.
There's something in there.
There's something in it.
Especially if these are big.
Exactly. Would you like to try some?
I don't like it.
Well, I mean, probably not the worst thing to you, but. That's great. Sure you don't, sure you don't like. Okay, would you like to try some cereal? Something all about it. Everybody over here? It's Catalina Crunch. I don't own any stock in it, but I'm very into it. It's a cereal. It's like a version of Spanish Crunch. I'm under it. But the label looks good. I like to try to get before you're feeling that. Watch out. I'll see you in the grocery store. I know that's room, that's their call.
Actually, I gotta turn this way, this way, act this way.
Oh, yeah. I paid 500. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. It was a little warm, but. It was really good, but he starts spitting on it.
I was gonna say, I think it is.
Good afternoon and welcome to the KIPDA board meeting on August the 27th, 2026. It's 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. At this time, Derek, if you'll call the roll, bring the meeting to order, please.
Thank you, Judge. Honorable Travis Buchanan for the Honorable Scott Bates.
Yeah, present.
Honorable Bernard Bowling.
Here.
Honorable Byron Chapman.
Here.
Honorable Jack Kaufman.
Here.
Mr. Jack Couch.
Here.
Honorable Troy Ethington. Mr. Chris John Streets for the Honorable Jeff Gahan.
Here.
Honorable Nicole George for the Honorable Craig Greenberg.
Present.
Mr. Keith Griffey. Honorable Treva Hodges. Honorable Dan Ison.
Here.
Honorable Maria Johnson. Saw her on the screen a minute ago. Mr. Brad Cummings for the Honorable Bob McEwen.
Here.
Honorable Mike Moore. Honorable John Ogburn.
Here.
Mr. Brian Abrams for the Honorable Carol Pike.
Here.
Honorable Jason Sharp. Honorable Jerry Summers.
Here.
Honorable Jim Travis. Honorable Scott Travis.
Here.
And Mr. Bo Glass for the Honorable David Vogel.
Here.
We do have a quorum, and before we can begin, I just want to recognize it's a little heavy heart reading that roll call. KIPDA had Mayor John Black serve on our board for many years through his time as judge executive and through his term as mayor of LaGrange, as well as his time as deputy judge executive in Oldham County. That dates back to the 90s that he has been serving on this board. Always enjoyed his humor he brought, the questions, and just it was a joy having working with him through the years. So again, I just want to recognize Mr. Black, who passed away last month.
Thank you, Jared. And at this time, if we could have just a moment of silence for Mayor Black. Thank you all. And also on my welcome, I want to remind all of y'all who, if you don't live under a rock, it's Kentucky State Fair. So get out there. It's a great place. It's good and cool. The weather is, and have a lot of fun. There's a lot of celebrities out there, a lot of fun things for your families to do. And they do have all the livestock in one building. So it's quite the, if you got any type of organic census, it's quite the experience. So, okay, so at this time, I need a approval and a motion for the June meeting minutes, KIPDA board meeting. I'll entertain a motion and a second, got a motion and second, and again, all in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, same. Thank you. Jared, would you want to do some guest speaker?
Yes, established with in the Trump administration's One Big Beautiful Bill, a new federal program that begins in 2027 will allow individuals to receive up to $1,700 off their federal tax liability by donating the same amount to a scholarship granting organization tasked with distributing the funds to families for a variety of educational services. After Kentucky opted into the program, Senator Gibbons approached the Area Development District Network to help support this initiative and made the introduction to our speaker, Will Hodges. Will is a native of Greene County. He began his teaching career in Shelby County High School in 1999, working as a high school mathematics teacher. And more recently, Will served as superintendent of Greene County Schools from 2018 to 2026. I'd like to welcome Will to speak more in depth on the program and his role in the efforts to ensure it's successful. Will?
Thank you all. Thank you all for allowing me to join you all today. And Jared, thank you for that introduction. I appreciate that. And as he noted, there is a big opportunity that's coming to the state of Kentucky starting January the 1st of 2027 with tax credit that'll be coming to our state. With the volume that is anticipated to enter the state of Kentucky, upon my retirement, I was approached to help start a trusted scholarship granting organization in the state of Kentucky that will assist the schools in the communities that you all live in. And at first, I was a little hesitant to that, being that I was retiring, but with the support of the ad network that made that decision a little easier to consider, and I found that support has been great across the state with the 15 districts and the Kentucky Council that operates out of Frankfort. So what we are doing is we have started as I mentioned, an independent nonprofit 501c3 that is a trusted state organization. And then part of that trust comes from the ad districts across the state. Your communities trust you, and they need a trusted organization to assist with this. So how this works is individuals across the state will be able to make a $1,700 donation, as Jared mentioned. Conservative, if we look at it conservatively, that's probably per return. If they change that could increase to 3,400, but right now I think we're thinking 1,700. It is a dollar for dollar tax credit. It's not a deduction, so there's going to be a lot of people that contributed this. Some will do this through payroll deduction. If they do it through payroll deduction, their take-home pay would basically remain the same. Their tax status at the end of the year will remain the same, but they're just choosing to divert $1,700 from the federal government to their community school. So it really comes down to a decision. Do you want to send $1,700 to your community school, whether that be a public school, a private school, or some type of homeschool co-op, or do you want to send that those dollars to Washington, D.C. For the people that do have a tax liability at the end of the year, it will reduce that by $1,700. And if you don't use all $1,700, you can roll that forward up to 5 years with the part that's unused. It's possible that if you typically get a refund at the end of the year and you make a donation, your refund could be greater by the amount of $1,700. So it is a program that will probably be popular. People will take advantage of the tax credit. My task, along with Rob Stafford, who has joined me to help, and we'll be probably adding others. Rob is from Owen County, and the support of the ad networks. Our task is to market this, advertise this, and our hopes are to help students across the state, help schools across the state, which will strengthen communities within across the Commonwealth. So that's a little bit about that. I'm happy to, Jared, answer anything that you all might have, or any questions that you might have, or talk through some things. I have found there continues to be questions, and we're continually search out answers to those questions. So,
Will, could you speak? I know that $1,700 for the student, just what those funds can be used for.
yeah, there are allowable expenditures. Part of that could be tuition and fees. A lot of times your private institutions will have tuition, but a lot of times your public institutions will have fees, associated fees that it could be used for. Schools may have a technology fee, a field trip fee, dual credit. A lot of kids take dual credit. It could go towards those fees as well. If you're thinking within the public arena. On top of that, regardless of the organization or the institution that you attend, whether it be public, private, or homeschool, it can be used for technology. If a child is in need of a computer, they can apply for a scholarship for that. Not only a computer, but everything that goes with a computer, software, things of that nature, is an allowable expenditure. Also, regardless of the type of institution you go to, families can apply for tutoring if they need extra help, whether that be after school or in the summer. I think it will also be able to be utilized for, I know in Bowling Green at Western Kentucky University, they have a summer program for students, and a lot of times in our area, families have a hard time paying for that. And I think right now, an allowable expenditure would be to pay for those tutoring services in the summer for such programs. And I'm sure in your area, there's similar programs that exist as well. That's just a few of the things that it could be used for. But I think it's a great opportunity for students and schools and communities alike.
KIPDA is going to be hosting, we're scheduled for October 28th. Will's going to come here to do a presentation, and we're going to try to get involvement from the school districts, reaching out to the superintendents. Obviously, a lot of you all have better relationships than I do with your all superintendents, so I wanted you all to be aware of this, and then also just kind of put some credibility behind that request, because it is an opportunity and we want to get the buy-in from the school district. So again, October 28th when we're going to be inviting them, but wanted you all to be aware of this opportunity and this initiative. Are there any other questions you all do have for Will? Okay. Well, Will, thank you for joining us today. And if there are any other questions, I will follow up with you with them.
Okay, thanks for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
And about our guest speaker, he'll be here at the end of the meeting when we do the comment section. So Congressman Guthrie will be here then. June financials, Frida?
Yes. Hey, let's go to page, well, the financials start on 37, but I've done a graph and it's on page 38. So our CED spend is $1,055,390, and our budget, well, was for June. I'm sorry, this is fiscal year 26. Last month, or our last month of our fiscal year, which is June 2026, and our budget is $3,220,203, and they have spent 32.77%. Transportation spend is $3,357,312. And our budget is $4,898,127. And they spent 38.54%. I'm sorry. Yeah, 38. It was a little. I'm sorry, we missed the spot, but that's okay. Well, I've just given you, well, that's right, transportation, but it's supposed to be 38.54%. Or 68, I'm sorry, 68.54. And then your Department of Social Services is 62,735,611. The budget is 60,126,475, and we have 104.34%. Our other operating is 20,422, and we have budgeted 205,756 for 9.93%. And then our overall spend for the year or total expenditures was 67,431,147. The next graph is the agency-wide actual to budget comparison. And we have our current for the month of June was 12,216,131. Our year-to-date was 71,524,772, with our revenues at 104.49%. We have our expenditures at 10,144,548 for the month, and then for the year-to-date, 67,431,147 at 38.51%. And our last page is page 50, is our last graph. And we have our cash, total cash at 4,123,725 at 14%. Our total receivable at 7,992,097 at 28%. And our total other assets at 2,325,476 at 8%. And then our total liabilities and projects are 14,424,403 at 50%. Have any questions?
Any questions for Frida? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the June financials.
So moved, Jared.
Got a motion? Second. And a second, Scott Kemp, Spencer Kemp. All in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, the same. Thank you. Frida, the July.
July, okay. We're going on to page 52. And on page 52, we have, this is for our fiscal year 27, July of 2026. So we're 1 month in. So our expenses for CD is 73,083. And our budget is 3,047,705. So we've spent 2.50%. And we go on to transportation, and our spend is 450,874. And we have a budget of 4,074,386. So our percentage is 11.07%. Department of Social Services, we have 3,898,848. And our budget is 78,831,802. And we've spent 4.95%. Other operating is 3,749. Our budget is 206,992, and we spent 1.81%. And then our overall total expenditures is the 4,470,844. for the month of July. Okay, we go on to page 59, to our agency-wide actual to budget comparison. And we have, 4,689,150, which is the same for a year to date. And our budget is 86,160,885, and that's for our revenues. Our expenditures, I'm sorry, is 4,470,844, which is the same for our expenses. And of course, our budget is 86,160,885. We have our balance sheet, which is on page 63. And our total cash is 5,520,819 at 23%. Sorry, I'm going faster than you.
You're right.
Total receivables, 4,059,385 at 17%. And then our total other assets are 2,282,463 at 10%. And then our total liabilities projects are 11,854,588 at 50%. Any questions?
Any questions about the financials with Frida? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to accept the July financials.
We got a motion, David.
Thank you, Judge Ogden.
Stay well.
Thank you, Judge Scott. All in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, the same. Thank you. Megan, personnel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Quick report today. Our staffing's been really stable this summer, knocking on wood. We have one new care coordinator for our Veterans Directed Care Program. That's Katrina Heikkinen. She's a veteran herself and she's just questioning already. We have one vacancy, a nutrition assessor, and our staff count is 87 full-time permanent and 2 part-time permanent.
Thank you, Megan.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so on number 9, we had 2 guest speakers. So Wilson spoke, but at this time, Congressman Guthrie, from the 2nd District, longtime friend, supporter of parts of Jefferson, Bullitt counties. Used to have parts of Spencer. And
Not anymore.
there you go.
Spencer.
Shelby. I understand that, but Shelby.
We'll take you back to Chelsea. I guess I won't be quite as brief, but maybe I can, how long you want me to talk? So thanks for having me here today, and yeah, I represent Mother, I did Trimble or Henry, or Nor, Indiana. But Karen Hopkins does a good job for the Indiana group over there, so we're on the same committee, so thanks very much. I just kind of introduce myself to those who haven't really met before, so Brett Guthrie from down in Bowling Green. But as you know, the way our districts go, at Bullitt County, I get to work with Jerry and Jefferson County, so I get to work with the mayor, saw the mayor this morning, and we're really working together. We really want to make big things happen as much as I can have any influence on it, on what he's doing in Jefferson County. It's important to the rest of the Commonwealth for us to have a strong Jefferson County, so glad to be here. So I chair just get background on Energy and Commerce Committee, and so that's about 2/3, depends on the year, sometimes 80%, about 2/3 of all legislation. And one time my wife said, what does that actually mean? Because most committees, actually, Ways and Means is an ancient term, I don't think anybody knows what that means. But like appropriations, of course, they do the spending bills, armed services, they do the annual military bill, Ag Committee does supposedly every 5 years a farm bill. And ours is about a lot of everything else, quite honestly. So the energy side, the way I kind of decided using cities that are identified with an industry. So Dallas and Houston, oil and gas, we have all the oil and gas, wind and solar. Hollywood, so I get to do broadcast, cable, streaming, all of those kinds of things. So I don't know who Bad Bunny was to the day after the Super Bowl, but I learned very quick. After you cannot swear on broadcast television, you can't swear and even in Spanish, you gotta, but NBC did bleep it out, we had to spend a lot of time reading. And NBC did everything right, but I don't know why the NFL wants, it was very demeaning to women, is what he said, actually. So then Silicon Valley, so I wanna talk a little bit about, AI data Seattle, old school manufacturer in Detroit, Henry Ford's second favorite city is Louisville, and so we're glad of that. I remind his great grandson every time I meet him that, your great granddad's second favorite city was Louisville. He said that, Henry Ford said that, and then all the healthcare, so most of health, not really health insurance, but most of healthcare. So I was just meeting with down in Bullitt County, the new cancer center is opening up today, and so it's great to be able to do that. There was a couple of topics that kind of came in and wanted me to talk about. I don't want to talk about data centers if you would like for me to. Is the Older Americans Act on that specific? I know it's mostly area development district, development ads where I'm from, I was KIPDA here. It is to administer that program, that's important. I know it's passed out of the Senate by unanimous consent, which is difficult to do anything in the Senate, much less unanimous consent. There's actually not a House companion. It's on the Ed Workforce Committee and still haven't got a really good update from them on where it's gonna go. But I actually was on that committee a few years back and was kind of a driver in doing the Older Americans Act, so I'm supportive. I'm not sure exactly the Senate bill to say there's a mill on it, but we know how important it is. There's Meals on Wheels, it's all the different things to do to take care of our seniors, and that's important. So we will get you an update as we get back into session and figure out what our Ed Workforce Committee is gonna do. The second thing, the transportation bill, the House, so my committee does have the highway safety, so we have our section. The big transportation bill spends the money, is passed out of the Transportation Committee. So we're waiting on Ways and Means. Ways and Means does all of our tax and revenue. And so they're trying to figure out the age-old question we're trying to figure out, how do you capture revenue from electric vehicles? And more people are using them. They're heavier, they use more wear on the highway, so how do you capture the revenue? And, the way you do it, there's a way to do it, is vehicle miles traveled. But how do you track that, the privacy stuff that goes with vehicle miles traveled? So Ways and Means is wrestling with that. We were hoping to get it done by this fall. Since it hadn't come out of Ways and Means, it's gonna be kind of hard to do it in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But we'll see. I think everything's been, the Senate left town and pushed everything to December the 11th instead of September 30th. And so I think we're gonna go back next week and looks like we're gonna concur to that. And so, then be there for a couple weeks and then break until November. And you get back right after November and try to sort that out. So that was the other, I know your communities are out there with opioids. We did reauthorize, that was my bill, the president signed the Support Act, which is the money that flows to state government to do the programs that help with, I know Indiana benefits as well. Do the programs that for rehabilitation and all those kinds of things. So that was improved, I think improved upon more money being spent. And I think it won't see the break in it, like sometimes things expire and you gotta go back and do them again. That was done. The thing I know in not just necessarily Bullitt, in this part of Jefferson, actually not quite my district from here, but close. If you're in Jefferson County, and if you're kind of driving, so if you're coming out of Jerry's World,
Right.
Mount Washington on Bardstown Road, it's not 100%, but it's pretty close. Everything to the right, Bardstown Road to Snyder, around the Snyder to Old Henry. And so it's east of the Snyder, north of Bardstown Road, south of Old Henry. Is not quite 100%, but about 90% of what I represent in Jefferson County. So a lot of communities are really struggling with what's going to happen with data centers, and there's real concerns. And anytime somebody asks me about data centers and they say, I have concerns about data centers, I'm glad you do, because I do as well. I think it's wise to be questioning and skeptical. This is a new industry. It's developing, it's coming. Elon Musk 2-3 years ago, when the first model for AI, so the data center is just the building block for AI. When the first model came out, he says, maybe we should put a moratorium on this, because we don't really know where it's going, what's gonna do, what's gonna happen. Well, the genie's out of the bottle. And unless we can get China to agree to put a moratorium on theirs, then we can't put a moratorium on it. It just doesn't make sense. And so what we're trying to do, but it takes an enormous amount of computing power. Takes an enormous amount of electricity, you hear from your communities. And actually they've gotten better. There's a company in Glasgow that makes the manifolds for recyclable water. So that can really mitigate that. But the question is, how do you draw off the grid? And then how do you, look at just building a big data center, and of course, they're cleaner than if you built a manufacturing facility. Look like about what you see in Bullitt County. That's what they look like when you drive by and see the fulfillment centers. And so I think it's fair for communities to be concerned. There's gonna be some communities that, so we don't wanna change the character of our community, and I'm a big believer that it should be a local decision. I don't think there's gonna be any federal decision that says we're gonna trump any local zoning laws. I've seen some communities, counties that don't have zoning laws, that don't want data centers, and you can't do no data center without zoning laws, and, well, we don't want zoning, but we don't want a data center. And so there's some quandaries going on with that. There are proper places to put them. There's a Hancock County, Judge Chick Roberts, some of you know, is gonna have one, it's an old aluminum smelter. The aluminum smelter already used 500 megawatts of power, so they have transmission lines, power, it's an old smelter. Somebody came to me and said, well, I hear these are gonna be loud. And I said, well, I'm not sure that, I can't tell you it's gonna be zero noise, but I guess it's gonna be quieter than a smelter. And so, it's not prime farmland, it's not all the issues you hear with it, it's like, of course, the water is recycled, is reused, but it's next to the Ohio River, and it's an infinite source almost of water. I mean, not if everybody draw out of it, right, but it's not even gonna use that either, and they already have electricity. And so you start looking at what you guys do, there's gonna be $3 billion worth of property value. So put $3 billion in your tax revenues, and they have a 3% utility tax. They're going to use about a gigawatt of power, which is more than the city of Louisville. So Hancock County is gonna generate, I don't know what Louisville utility tax is, if it's 3%, Hancock County will generate more revenue for their school system than the city of Louisville does for the utility tax, not the other things. And so it can be successful, and if it's done right. And that's why the federal government does need to choose which counties and communities it goes, but we also can't ban them. And so what's AI? I mean, AI is so many different things. They think they can use it to cure cancer, they can use it, it's just massive computing power, massive use of data. And so whoever controls it, does not, remember the old, I use them all, the Microsoft, and everybody had a laptop, before you had a laptop, you had a desktop. Everybody had a desktop, and then finally they started talking to each other, so everybody had to have the same software. And so whoever won that game was gonna be the next zillionaire, and that was Bill Gates and Microsoft, because everybody, they had to talk to each other. Computer can be different, but the software had to match. Well, it's the same thing with AI, data's gotta run together. So somebody's gonna control it, somebody's not. And there's only two choices, it's either us or China. And so to put a nationwide moratorium that some people have said is wrong, I think it's wrong to put a statewide moratorium because it would rob Hancock County of putting a site in. I remember asking the judge, some of you judges will appreciate this. I said, Judge, is that gonna replace the 3% you lost from the smelter leaving? And he kind of laughed. He said, you don't think the smelter's gonna pay that tax to you? The smelter got it all abated. They said, well, we're gonna pull out if we have to pay this. We're gonna pull out if we have to pay that. And I tell judges and I tell county magistrates, as we call them where I'm from, if a data center comes in, says I want to locate, what are you gonna give me? I would absolutely look them in the eye and say, absolutely nothing. And if you need something, you need to go somewhere else. Because there's enough people that want to locate and be good business people and locate in my community that's gonna pay that my community can benefit from them being here. Because you really don't benefit as a community from the data center operating. The world benefits from it. But your community benefits by the tax base it brings, by the jobs that it brings. And if you abate all of that just to get them, you don't benefit your community whatsoever. And so there's gotta be a right, I guess I can get into questions if you wanna do that. I don't really have all the answers, but I don't dismiss people's concerns. There are legitimate concerns to this. There are some people that are just like to fight everything. And then we know there are nefarious operators around the world that are funding some of the anti-data. We know that for a fact. We're having the FBI investigate, as a matter of fact, doing it. And I'm not saying so people, when you say that, so you're saying everybody against the data center as a tool of Chinese companies part. No, not whatsoever. There are concerned citizens that have, if you're gonna put an automotive plant, they're gonna be concerned. If you're gonna put whatever, they're gonna be concerned. And so you have to address their concerns. We have the ratepayer protection pledge going that the data centers pay for the energy infrastructure they have. So the big thing that when I get back, I'm working on, I'm hoping to get there, needs to be bipartisan if we can get there, is a permit reform. So we can build more electricity, we can build more generation, we can build more transmission, we can build, and it's usually investors say, I got a 30-year investment. And every 2 to 4 years, the rules change. So it's hard for me to invest in a new generation plant or new generation source. If I'm afraid somebody's gonna pull a permit 2 to 4 years from now. So are you waiting? You go, I gotta give me the finger. Give me the wand. So if it changes every 2 to 4 years, and so any Congress can change another one, but things are a little more understanding if you can make them bipartisan. So we've been reaching out and having some good conversations. I'm not sure we're gonna actually be able to get there in the end, but I won't wait for the lack of trying. And my committee does work a lot of ways. There's some things we just don't agree on and we're never gonna get there on. But we just did the kids solar and safety. So you saw Kentucky just was part of the settlement on Meta. And every time they were talking about this lawsuit that was going, they said, well, this should be done through legislation, not through courts, and it should. And I was yelling at the TV, we have a bill in the Senate, there's a bill in the Senate, and it was bipartisan. Frank Pallone, who's the ranking Democrat for the committee, Republican chairman of the committee, have come together in a coalition because what unites us more than anything, particularly our young staff members who are young parents, is to make sure our children are protected online. So a lot of things you saw in the settlement, you say, why in the world isn't that the law of the land? Well, it's now in the lap of the Senate, and we are pushing them to send us something back so that we can make it the law and do it in a bipartisan way. Well, I always say this, if you watch whichever cable network you choose, if you watch Fox, you probably see the same 10 or 15 colleagues of mine on the side aisle. You watch MSNBC, I'm sure I don't watch it, but you probably see a pretty similar group. 10 or 15, there's another 400 of us, and most of us are trying to make things work. Any questions? I'd love to do questions on that and follow up.
It's
Travis,
interesting.
you're
I
out
always
there.
try to have one.
You always have a question, don't come about nozzles.
Well, no,
That's one.
we got past that,
Okay.
what, a decade ago, I guess.
Yeah,
But it's interesting how much
did you
power
get over it or not fix it?
you fixed. it.
Okay.
It's interesting how much that plant uses when, I mean, we can relate, you quantify an amount. The city of Louisville uses the same amount of power as this one plant.
As a smelter did, so that's gonna use a little more than city of Louisville.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking, I'm thinking about Spencer County. More like Shelby County has some big buildings. Bullitt County. Do they have enough capacity or how short are they
Yeah.
to able to reach that amount?
Well, each regional person knows the command, you can pull off the region, so if you have the transmission line interconnected, you can pull off the region. The situation in Hancock County was you had a customer using 500, half a gigawatt flat. So you started with a half a gigawatt to begin with, but they weren't paying any utility tax on. So now you have that, plus they can draw Big Rivers, which is the provider for that area, has the power reserve for it. And then if you need to build, because that needs to be part of it too, then the way the ratepayer protection pledge acts, they will build the new infrastructure. Now, like data center, we don't want to build for the whole community, but if you have to build a new plant to take care of their needs, then they have to pay for the plant, but the community would benefit from that. Be like if they need to build new water, like the $40 million water plants now, you guys are all dealing with that. And it's crazy how much a water plant costs now, but if a new data center came in and said they need a water plant, they got a $3 billion investment going in. He says, yeah, we need a new water plant to take care of it. In the community, it's a new water plant based on that construction, because they got to pay part of their construction. Those things are happening. I'm not saying they're always happening, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, because it's a negotiation you have to have. But that can be done and this be done. It can benefit the community. And I'm not here defending them, because there's some I would run off. Like if somebody came and asked, what are you gonna give me? I'd say, go somewhere else. Yeah, but I need a good place with good workers and good workforce to work and to operate. I think that, we have a lot to sell in our Commonwealth. I'm bullish on what we can do if we do it right, but don't if some community, if Cave City's going through it right now. If the citizen of Cave City says we don't want a data center here, I wouldn't want Kentucky to do it. Then you keep Hallsville, who has an old empty, go sit there and fall apart.
Right.
And they'll Rust Belt look to it, they don't want that, they want something nice and new, looks like, those are like those fulfillment centers that you see all of. I think Bullitt County is beautiful, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Couldn't be finer.
Yeah. They still make the knob, they don't affect the knobs, they're still stunning, aren't they?
They are, absolutely.
Rob, do you have any questions, anything else? Good.
For you.
Yeah.
What do you, I'm gonna switch gears on you.
Okay,
I'm gonna go to the hemp industry.
okay.
What do you would think the chances of Congressman Lamar's legislation, this bill passing?
Yeah, before, so the two things, one, will there be some kind of extension? And if there's an extension, does it give us time to do what Congressman Barr, I mean, he just filed that bill the other day, and we're only back to like 2 or 3 weeks before the election. My personal opinion is something's gonna be extended to give us time to get, I think hemp. I'm on kind of on the other side of some of this, I'm in the vast minority and I get it, so I just don't think we need another intoxicant, but, they're there, and if you don't, regulate it, it'll end up like vape shops. We're gonna end up with the illegal ones in kids' pockets. And so we have to have a system in place. There's two kind of ways to look at one through the FDA, which is actually my committee. I actually think it should go through alcohol, tobacco, firearms, like Andy Barr, I think tax like bourbon, tax like alcohol, tax and treat like alcohol, where you get them in. It's controlled, so, people can get a hold of them. But my biggest fear more than the drinks is like the gummies. I mean, it's a crap. It's all one time, I would have sworn it was candy. And it was an intoxicant. So that's what I'm more scared about, how we regulate that, keep it away from kids. But, I do think the potential for some kind of stay on being made illegal, and it's already passed the Senate to December the 11th. I think there'll be some time to work through the problem and get it fixed. I think that's gonna happen.
The other products that come from that plant could be even bigger than, anything.
The beverages and that.
And all that.
Well, when it first happened, McConnell's the one who pushed it, if you remember, and his image of it was gonna be fiber and. People say, oh, toilet can make dashboards with hemp and you make fiber with hemp. And I think that he feels that it's developed a way that he didn't see it going, whereas now gummies and hemp drinks and things like that. And
Well, it's like,
that's his issue.
we didn't do a good job putting infrastructure in place to
Yeah.
make those processes happen.
You have the states regulated. So done correctly. Yeah.
The state of Kentucky is actually doing it better than probably any other state as far as.
Yeah, they are doing a little bit of regulated. I think the bourbon industry's kind of pushed that too, some ways, right? They're saying we're treated differently than a competing product, and so, yeah. But yeah, Kentucky is a good example of that. Good example. I do think there'll be something worked out. I don't know the right answer to that. We have, Mandy's got a bill, and then we have Andy Morgan Griffin on our committee, who's over FDA, who's working to see if we can come to some kind of join them together. But FDA just said, we've seen that with vapes. Vapes is, most vapes that you see now are legal. There's very few legal vapes. And it was interesting because I'm getting into in the weeds, but you go to the FDA and they go, well, we don't want to approve a product. We know it's gonna cause cancer. And they go, well, you're approving a product which the people will vape and will have cigarettes, that's that kind of thing. So they didn't approve a lot of products. And so you had the demand for it, and you see they're not really, and there's not enough manpower from FDA like there is for alcohol, tobacco, firearms, is why it's or state does the inspections, goes in and does the alcohol inspections. And I think that's why it's probably better to be run by the state, because you just have the resources to make sure their people are legal. Yeah. They're getting more, they're actually getting more of the vapes approved. So, because they have this illegal market out there now. And I've seen him in Bowling Green, some guy from Tennessee owns one, they came up and cleared it out, and he said, he makes so much money on that, they can take all of his inventory and he'll make it back in 6 months. So that's the problem, if we don't do something, if we just make them all illegal, then that's gonna happen, that's what I'm afraid of. That answer, I just don't have a good answer, because it's gonna play out in the next 3 or 4 weeks, so. Wait and see where it goes. You have a hand, you're rubbing your hair, I mean, you have your hand up. Oh, drink your glasses, all right, well, I'll, thanks for allowing me to be here.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
And thank you, Congressman, for coming and speaking and,
We'll listen for people, I think I'm gonna be in MSD and see what kind of projects for
absolutely,
Bowling County, if you will, that's right, and in Eastern Jefferson.
yes.
Right?
There you go.
Good to see you. I saw the mayor this morning, he did a good job.
Yes.
He did. Thanks a lot, appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Thank you.
Let's get you up here, because we do that, please. I'm gonna get you in here with.
Picture with Jerry?
Oh, Gary.
Photoshop a couple. Here, in the middle.
In the middle. You're the boss. You got the gavel.
I give him a hug.
Flag. Oh, you're good. Better take a picture for that flag, send it to Erin.
Yeah.
Those are from Indiana, Erin, she's a dynamo. She's been there 2 years or 4 years and already in leadership and. Yeah. Major committee and she's something. Yeah. She's a force. Salem, right?
From Salem.
She's from Seymour.
From
She's from
Salem.
Salem, that's right.
Yes, from Salem, Washington County.
Yeah, exactly.
Congressman, thank you for coming. I just want to also applaud your staff. James and Mark have always been tremendous to work with. Just thank you all for your all support through the years.
Yeah, well, we're open for everything. I only have a county and a third, not even a third, county and a fifth. And, not a fifth like Jerry's used to say,
Absolutely.
but a fifth of a, not even quite a fifth. But anything y'all need or, I figure if I have one area, I have all of it. So we're looking for all of it. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's in one all eight. Miss you, Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Sorry, we did good job. Are you Rich? Oh, Rich, me and Richie and Bob, we were. I want to say, good to see you. Yeah, we're praying for you. We sure love you guys. Yeah. Always nice to see you guys. Nice.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, and in Transportation Policy Committee, see if you can.
Sir, I'll try to follow that one. So at 12:30 this afternoon, the KIPDA Transportation Policy Committee met in this room, and I'll cover some highlights of that. One of the things we got approved today was we finalized our what we would call our socioeconomic data process. That's where we took the demographic estimates of household population and employment at a very small level in all 5 of the urban counties. And so over the late spring, early summer, we met with a lot of your all staffs to finalize those. And I want to give a big shout out to your staffs that helped us out on that process. That was a tricky little process, always is, and it's going to pay dividends down the road as we get to this new long range plan. Brady Hill announced some of the changes to our Indiana funding. There's a couple switches to a couple projects to make sure that we spend our fiscal $27 on time by the end of the fiscal year in Indiana. So in good shape, should be in pretty good shape there. Believe it or not, there's been 2 summaries of the federal highway authorization. Mr. Hill gave one earlier, and just like Mr. Guthrie gave one just a few moments ago. So Brady's talked a little bit about the Build America 250 Act, and as the congressman said, that's in the works. It's been passed out of the House committees. We're eagerly awaiting what the Senate has to say about that. But really importantly, there are a lot of good things for local government in what's been proposed thus far. That includes a boost to the metropolitan planning funding. It'd be a nice little boost in that, and a boost that is greater than the boost of the other federal funds. There's a solid boost to all of the federal funds, and so some good things there. There's a bridge program that a significant boost to the $9 billion a year.
5.529 now.
Yeah, $9 billion a year. That's gonna be, and some of that is gonna be set aside for local government specifically. And so stay tuned on that. That is a big thing. So the current federal highway authorization, it ends at the end of the federal fiscal year, which is in 5 or 6 weeks now, I suppose. And so, you know, are they gonna get passed through all those committees and by the Senate by then? No, probably not. So there's likely to be extension. And so we'll see how that goes. So we'll see what that means down the road, but we will keep both you all and the TTC updated on that, because there's a lot of change over the coming months. And then the last thing I'll mention is, and this is important, I think, for those in the urban area in the room. Our long range plan update is well underway at this time. And so your staff should have received recently from us basically a list of your projects. It's a checkup for all the projects that you have in the pipeline right now. Okay, so there should be we try to make it as easy as possible for you guys. And so there's a few easy questions to answer for each of your projects. For those that have a lot of projects, we will be helping you out in certain ways, and then we'll be certainly holding the hands of those that maybe only have a project or two, because it's a lot on both ends there. So if you have any questions at all about that process or what the deadlines or timelines are, please reach out to myself or Chris Nicholas. She's not here today. You can reach out to Brady or any of the KIPDA staff and we can help you out on that. Be on the lookout for more information on that very soon. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Andy. You need a motion to, accept Andy's report. Got a motion and second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Sign opposed. Thank you. Transportation business, Andy.
Thank you. This is gonna be on, this is agenda item 11 on page 65 of your binder. Just have one contract for you this month. I should have a few more next month. This is a relatively small contract. This is a contract that we're seeking board ratification on today. It's with Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. They have one of these contracts with each of the area development districts to do the roadway centerline maintenance agreement. Basically, our GIS staff, our mapping team, if you will, they monitor and update and maintain the roadway center lines across the Kentucky side of the region. And so they provide a little bit of assistance for that, $21,900 of state funds to go toward those endeavors.
Okay.
I'll
And
make the motion to pass that, but I have a comment on it as well.
go ahead, Jack.
When I was the chair of the Kentucky Council, they had, I met with the transportation directors from across the state.
Mhm.
And we got this first contract to do statewide center line. And trust me, folks, that is one of the best things that ever happened in demographics and things in Kentucky. So I hope I get a second on this.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, aye. Like sign opposed. Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you very much.
The Regional Transportation Council, Mike. There you go.
There you are.
I didn't see you behind the podium.
The KIPDA Regional Transportation Council meeting was held at 1 p.m. today in the KIPDA Small Conference Room on Zoom. The committee reviewed the 2026-2032 Kentucky Enacted Highway Plan. 51 regional projects were discussed. The projects are to be funded by a mix of federal and state sources. The plan was not constrained by the forecasted amount of state funding available, and most of the projects funded by a statewide priority projects pool will not advance as scheduled. The decision to obligate limited funds to projects will be made by the Kentucky Secretary of Transportation in consultation with the KYT authorization review team. The committee then conducted its annual review of bylaws and goals and objectives and made no changes. Members provided a report of county transportation updates, and the next KIPDA Regional Transportation Council meeting is tentatively scheduled for November at a date and time to be announced. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Nick, I need a motion to approve, Mr. Report. Got a motion?
Yes, sir.
Second? And second, all in favor, like sign aye. Those opposed, thank you. Government resource, Ethan. It's Ethan, go behind the podium.
Yeah, I was hiding.
I haven't seen you.
Thank you. So, KIPDA submitted an application to the EDA, for a disaster response resource project. So the project, if awarded, would provide funding for staffing within the CED division as well as drone and GPS equipment. The total cost of the project is, roughly $296,000. The federal share is 236, a little bit more than that, 236,000. There is a local match requirement of $59,210. We're gonna put in an application to the Kentucky Grant Program, which is gonna cover the vast majority of that local match requirement, 90%. So we have a resolution that we need to consider. So the request is just an adoption of the resolution. So that way we can have permission to submit the grant program application. Actually, it's fine. Board question.
I've got a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Those opposed, same. Thank you, Ethan.
Thank you.
Resolution will be done. Yeah,
Doing it right now.
it's got the resolution going. Okay, Brian, Regional Planning Council.
Thanks, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I got a quick update on Regional Planning Council for you all. We met on Tuesday, July 14th from 11 to noon, here. This is opposite this thing and virtually amazing. We were joined by Nat Meunier from J-Town. He presented on some of the initiatives that J-Town has been undertaking over the last decade or so, economic planning initiatives. So it was good to have him come and give a short presentation on that to everybody. For anybody that wasn't in attendance, if you'd like a copy of that presentation, I'd be happy to send it to you. Also, along with that, we talked about some county quarterly updates as well as some long-range planning business that I've undertaken this year related to the HMP, which I'll be talked about briefly in a little bit here. And then going along with that, we are also planning a Kentucky Planning and Zoning training that's to be hosted here at KIPDA on Tuesday, September 15th. That will be from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. That is a KRS 147A requirement that will be hosted by two Brians, Brian Davis from Owensboro Metro Planning Commission and Brian Howard from the Louisville Metro Office of Planning. It's this no-cost training that will get you 8 credit hours. And there's an optional $15 box lunch also provided. If anybody has any additional questions on that, Felicia has kind of been spearheading organizing that. So be happy to put you in touch with her if you need any additional info on that. But that concludes my RPC report.
Okay.
Well, actually, sorry. Next RPC will be Tuesday, October 13th from 11 to noon.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And you're up again with the hazardous mitigation plan.
Yes, sir. So as most of you probably know by now, I have been working on our regional hazard mitigation plan. It's a 5-year plan update cycle that is a federal requirement for our communities to remain eligible for FEMA sponsored funding. So I am happy to report that the 2026 HMP is nearing completion of the first draft. I estimate about 85 to 90% on that. I am aiming to submit that first draft to KYEM and FEMA in mid-October. And so as of now, all hazard profiles and the data therein are up to date and being finalized. Basically what's left is the need for me to attend some local emergency planning committee meetings. I've already attended several across our region. I believe I have 3 additional meetings for those to attend in Trimble, Spencer, and Bullitt counties. And then, yeah, once the mitigation actions are finalized, the plan will be ready for submission to KYE and FEMA. So we should be on track for renewal of that plan January 27th of 2027, which is when the 2021 plan expires. But other than that, I'd be happy to take any additional questions. I feel like I've kind of beat you all over the head with hazard mitigation plan this year already, but if anybody has any additional questions or anything on that, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Ryan? Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
Yes, sir.
Regional Water Council, Felicia.
Good afternoon. The KIPDA Regional Water Management Council held their first fiscal year 2027 quarterly meeting here Tuesday, July 14th in the Burke Room and on Zoom. Debbie Landrum with the KIA provided updates on KIA business, including changes to the Kentucky Waters Program and the upcoming conclusion of the Cleaner Water Grant Program. The council also received presentations from the Kentucky Division of Water and the area-wide program, Source Water Protection Assistant Program, and the Sewer Overflow and Stormwater Reuse Municipal Grant Program, including green infrastructure and nature-based solutions. So Justin has a lot of information on that grant opportunity and should be reaching out to y'all's communities, see if there's any need for that. The council approved 1 drinking water project and 2 new wastewater projects. Details of those projects are in your agenda packet on page 66. And the meeting concluded with the water management coordinator's report and county updates on water and sewer systems throughout the KIPDA region. The next Regional Water Council meeting will be Tuesday, October 13th here at KIPDA at 1:30 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Felicia. And go ahead.
I was just gonna say action is requested to
Right.
approve those 3 new projects. Yeah.
So we got a motion, and a second. All in favor, aye. Opposed, same. Thank you, Felicia. And Felicia,
Thank you.
you're up again with the CDDS contracts.
All right, I have 3 new contracts to approve. You can find them on page 68. First one is a community development block grant that was awarded to Oldham County Fiscal Court. This is to the administer the CDBG grant funding for the Crestwood Pillar Housing Project. This is the amount of $35,000 for the administration. The second one is an SRF for the city of Shepherdsville. This is to administer the SRF funding that was awarded to Shepherdsville Blue Lick Road Drainage and Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project, and that's in the amount of $50,000. And then the last one is Spencer County Fiscal Court. KIPDA will be, providing professional services on some mapping of needs for their comprehensive plan, and that's in the amount of $2,500. So action is requested to accept those 3 contracts.
Yep.
Motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Thank you.
Also, in the front of your all's agenda is some funding opportunities. These are closing very, very soon. That is the remaining water in your recreational trail, as well as your community development block grant. So if there is a need that we have not reached out to you and you are not working with Ethan, then let us know and we will make sure that we start that application as the new cycle starts up at the beginning of, in the spring.
What is this one about?
The EDA is a public work, it's kind of, infrastructure, if you have sewer and water needs for economic development, so if it's creating jobs, then it could possibly be an eligible project for EDA funding. But it has to create jobs or retain jobs. So, of course, if there's any funding needs, you all don't know where to go, please reach out to me or one of my staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. Okay, social services, Margaret?
Hi, good afternoon. I just have one little thing, which is I have not taken over Tricia's position, even though it has been listed as the manager. And I am just standing in, but she will be back for your next meeting. So I just wanted to let you guys, let me try that again. I want to bring up the FY 27 contracts for the Department of Social Services. And Jared, if I may, I'm gonna ask that we do it in a group, but we pull out Louisville Metro Senior Nutrition Program, Multi-Purpose, Tri-County, and then Louisville Metro Office of Social Service.
Absolutely.
Okay. So on page 69 of your packets is going to be the list of contracts and totals. And these have been reviewed and approved by our advisory council. So we have an action required or requested for approval of these contract totals. And I'm happy to answer questions on.
I'll move for approval. I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor to approve the contracts for social services? Like some opposed. Thank you, Margaret.
All right, and then. Jared, how do we do the ones individually so that people can?
If we can do them both all and then we'll make the abstentions. No.
Okay. So the ones that we pulled out are the Louisville Metro Government Senior Nutrition Program, which is on page 69. The Multi-Purpose Community Action Agency, Tri-County Community Action Agency, and Louisville Metro Office of Social Services, that should be all be on page 70.
Why don't we take the metro ones first, and that one, Deputy Mayor George will abstain from.
All right, so if I can ask for a motion to approve, the multi-purpose and tri-county contracts. I'm sorry, the global, let me try that again. If I can get an action to approve the Louisville Metro contracts.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Louisville Metro contracts.
Second. You got a second by Mr. Boland.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, thank you.
Then we'll do the multi-purpose with Judge Travis and Judge Summers abstaining from them.
And Judge Iceland.
Dan's here too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to put that in the form of the motion to approve that contract for the.
Motion approved.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Got a second? Again, like sign aye. Opposed, same. Thank you all.
And then Tri-County with Travis Buchanan, Bo Glass and Judge Ogburn abstaining.
I'd like make a motion to approve the, Tri-County.
A second. Got Mr. Boland seconds. Okay. All in favor, like sign aye. Same opposed. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The conflict of interest, form, Beth.
Hello, everyone. I know, Congressman Guthrie spoke briefly about the Older Americans Act, but under the Administration for Community Living Final Rules for the Older Americans Act, state units on aging and area agencies on aging must monitor and remove conflicts of interest in Title III and ombudsman program. The federal regulations require both state units on aging and AAAs to have written policies to identify, avoid, remove, and remedy organizational. This extends to all employees, board and advisory council members, awardees, and volunteers who have responsibilities for administering this program. KIPDA has prepared a draft conflict of interest policy along with screening and mitigation forms. Margaret has prepared those and her team, and they're in your packet. I'm not sure what page. This annual screening will identify any actual, perceived, or potential conflicts of interest at the organization and individual levels to ensure those mentioned above are appropriately stewarding federal resources for providing these services. Upon appointment to a board or advisory council and offer of employment to KIPDA or contract award, an individual screening form shall be completed, and any entity paid with Older Americans Act funds shall complete an organizational form. If a conflict of interest is identified, then the member or organization involved will work with leadership to remove or remedy the situation and must complete the conflict of interest mitigation form. That is also in the packet. This form must be completed and submitted to KIPDA leadership no later than the end of the first quarter of each fiscal year. Action is required to approve this policy. And this has been submitted and approved by DIA.
And I know in the past, when we had collected some of these conflict of interest, one of the fields was the social security number and some more of that invasive information. These are pretty straightforward, so hopefully you all don't find any issue with these. But basically, everybody that makes a decision at this table, whether the designated board member or their alternate, is required to complete these conflict of interest.
And so this applies to our federal programs. We do have some state funded programs that will not apply.
That's, for the state long term, it does apply.
Oh, to the state long term, yeah. Thank you, Mary Ann. Any questions?
I appreciate everybody starting to fill out, but if we could get a motion to approve.
Yep.
Motion.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, like sign aye. Same opposed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Kentucky Family Caregiver Program update. Mary Ann.
So I'm updating on the Kentucky Parent and Grandchildren Program. Last year in 2026, we served 158 grandparents and 261 grandkids, and this should be in your back pocket. Last year, we started a newsletter that goes out monthly. for resources and news about the program. And just other general information that can assist the grandparents, and it's going very well. The grandparents have told me how much they appreciate it. And for this year in the outreach, I'm going to do the outlying counties and concentrate in Henry, Trimble, Spencer, and Oldham. And we are working to get a support group going. I've had some interest in it, and I'm working, and that would either be in Jefferson and Boulder counties, possibly both. And that's my update.
Thank you.
I have some questions. This, so these numbers here, were in which county?
That was overall.
Okay, that was overall, give the region.
Yes.
Okay.
Margaret, we can't drill that down into the county level, can we?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, my curiosity and concern is that I have seen, my wife's a retired teacher, what the need for this is. And, you know, like, Jerry and Dan and I on a multi-purpose, I don't know if those are missions that can mingle, but I just want to stress that this is a big need. If probably everyone knows someone or has a member in their family. You know, my wife has an aunt and uncle that raised her grandkids. So we all probably know someone that did this, and there seems to be more and more of it nowadays than when I was younger. So, you know, we need to look at ways to expand and keep this successful. Whatever that looks like. So, you know, thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Todd. Okay, financial management actions, Jared.
At the June KIPDA Board of Directors meeting, the board authorized a resolution for KIPDA to join other area development districts in a potential lawsuit against the Cabinet for Health and Family Services and or the Kentucky Department of Medicaid Services for harm caused by removing financial management services from the area development district's participant directed services program. As of today, 13 of the 15 ad boards have passed a similar resolution, and the remaining 2 ads will be presenting at their upcoming board meeting. When the RFP was initially released on April 1st, responses were due on May 6th. Following the ads protest of the RFP, on April 29th, the schedule was updated with the response deadline pushed back to April 8th. And since we met last time, the schedule has been revised again on August 6th, with responses now due on November 6th. So hopefully that is a strong indication that they're reconsidering this RFP. The ads have continued the administrative process of appealing the RFP by sending a letter with supplemental information related to the protest to the Secretary of Finance and Administration on July 8th. The Cabinet for Health and Family Services provided a response to our letter on August 4th, and the ads submitted a SIR reply to their response on August 17th. So again, just continuing through that administrative process of appealing the RFP. In addition to the area development district's efforts, the 12 community mental health centers that are members of the Kentucky Association of Regional Programs submitted a letter to the Department of Medicaid Services on July 23rd expressing their concerns with the RFP and desire to continue providing the services. Currently, the ads and the CMHCs are the FMA providers. The ads continue conversations with leadership at the Cabinet for Health and Family Services and have requested a meeting with the governor or his senior advisors, including State Budget Director John Hicks. I think what we are learning is they were not aware of the unintended consequences of this RFP if it got pulled away from the ads purview. Additionally, we have been speaking with legislative members of the Budget and Contract Review Committee, the Health and Family Services Committee, and Medicaid Oversight Advisory Board. We will continue these efforts in hopes to resolve this issue without requiring legal action, and I will provide another update next month, and I'm open to any questions that you all might have.
Any questions for Jared? Hearing none. Good job, Jared. Thank you for everything that you're doing with this. Intergovernmental reviews, there's quite the list.
We have A through Q, Judge. I included, probably by accident, G, Q, L, and M. These were received as statewide projects. The other projects were all regional, but all the projects have been submitted for local review and no comments have been received. So items A through queue can be taken together, so action is requested.
Good deal. And
Do we need to not vote if something in our county is in these?
You can still vote on these.
Okay, I'll make a motion to, accept these.
okay, the motion by Judge Ison, second by Judge Travis. All in favor, like sign aye. Same opposed. Thank you all. Jared. Director,
We're on the home stretch. I do want to recognize Mayor Pike and Mayor Johnson, who joined us after the roll call. Thank you all for being here, and thank you everybody for being here today as we're coming to the end of summer. I want to recognize Brian Blank with Fish and Wildlife. Brian, anything you'd like to share?
Yes, thanks, Jared, Chairman Summer. Appreciate you pointing out the state fair. That's where I was this morning before I came over. And, of course, this morning was the ham breakfast, so there was a lot of handshaking and baby kissing going on today at the state fair. Get out there, we got our booth, all the critters are out there. Please come and visit us. We'd love to see you, and it's a good time. September is quota hunt month, so anybody who's of the mind of applying for hunts, you gotta apply in September. We do that every year. And then again, I know I hit this a lot, but it's such a great program. First Saturday in September, archery deer season starts. So if you can encourage your friends, or if you've got like crop damage permits, let's donate as many deer as we can to the Hunters for the Hungry program. There was 4,000 deer, about 4,000 deer donated last year. They provided over 250,000 meals and or portions for local soup kitchens and people in need. And of that number, there was 10,000 deer sticks that were produced that went into kids' backpack bags. And I think you're gonna see an expansion of that with the deer sticks, because it's such good, healthy protein. And as always, thanks for what you all do. It's always good to be a part of it. And honestly, this is the one that I come to the most, so I feel like I'm at home when I get to come to this one. This is my third one for the week, and it's nice to come and end the week over here at KIPDA. I appreciate you all what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. We have no travel items this month, so just announcing our meetings for September. The Transportation Technical Coordinating Committee will be meeting in this room at 1 p.m. on September 9th. And then on September 24th, we'll have our Transportation Policy Committee meeting at 12:30, followed by the KIPDA Board of Directors meeting at 2. And this concludes my report.
thank you, Jared. And on other business, the November meeting will be in Bullitt County, and you send your menu request to Jared, because it's like 2 days before Thanksgiving. So if you don't want turkey, we've got a little bit of everything else to offer in Bullitt County. So think about what you'd like to eat, and we'll have some fun and a good farewell to a lot of our good friends at that time.
Judge will be hammering down a location, and once we get that location, I'll send out a save the date to everybody, so you all have that date and location reserved on your calendars.
I can't wait to come to Spencer County and visit my good friend's home. We might have it at the house if it's fair enough, if it's warm enough. Okay, I need a motion to adjourn. Motion second, thank you all. Have a great weekend.